Hi everyone, I'm Albert. So today I'm going to talk about India's first empire. In this chapter, I'm going to talk about the empire that the Mauryas and Guptas established. And why does it still matters now? Because the diversity of people, cultures, beliefs, and languages in India continues to pose challenges to Indian unity today. Okay, so before we get started, there are some terms and names that we need to know. Mauryan Empire. The empire established by Chandragupta when he and his army killed the Nanda king. Asoka was the Chandragupta's grandson who brought the Mauryan Empire to its greatest heights. Religious toleration is the acceptance of people who held different religious beliefs. Tamil is a language spoken by the Tamil people of South India. And Gupta Empire is India's second empire. Patriarchal means headed by the eldest male, while matriarchal means headed by the mother rather than father. Setting the stage. In 600 BC, many small kingdoms were scattered through India. So at this point, no great empire actually unifies India. 326 BC, Alexander the Great brought the Indus Valley in the northwest under Macedonian control. And later on, Chandragupta Maurya seized power. The Mauryan Empire is established. Chandragupta Mauryan was born in Magadha. Magadha is centered on the lower Ganges River and was ruled by the Nanda family. In 321 BC, Chandragupta gathered an army and killed the Nanda king, and also began the Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta Maurya unifies North India. Chandragupta moved to northwest after he conquered the Nanda Empire. And in 305 BC, Chandragupta began to battle Seleucus I. Seleucus I was one of Alexander's generals, and inherited part of Alexander's empire. He wanted to re-establish Macedonian control over the Indus Valley. In 303 BC, Mauryan Empire united North India politically for the first time. Chandragupta raised a vast army, which includes 600,000 soldiers on foot, 30,000 soldiers on horseback, and 9,000 elephants. This actually helped him greatly to conquer all his territories. However, this also has a cost. So the government levied high taxes so that they could clothe, feed, and pay the troops. For example, farmers had to pay up to 1/2 of the value of their crops to the king. Running the empire. Kautilya was a member of priestly caste, and he was an advisor of Chandragupta. He wrote the Arthasastra, which is a ruler's handbook, and also advised Chandragupta to establish a bureaucratic government, in which divided the empire into 4 provinces, each headed by a royal prince, and is then divided into local districts whose officials collect taxes and enforce laws. Arthasastra was a book that proposed tough-minded policies. For example, it proposed spying on people and employing political assassination, which means killing, murdering. Yeah. Life in the city and the country. Megasthenes was sent by Seleucus to Chandragupta's capital to remain peace with the Indian emperor. He wrote glowing description of Chandragupta's palace and farmers' lives. He described Chandragupta's palace having golden pillars, many fountains, and imposing thrones. In his description, farmers were exempted from military service, and they don't go to cities. In 301 BC, Chandragupta's son ruled for 32 years, and after that, his grandson Asoka took control. Asoka promotes Buddhism. Asoka was Chandragupta's grandson, who wanted to be a loving, peaceful ruler, but he had to control a huge empire. He became king in 269 BC. At first, he followed his father and grandfather's footsteps, and waged war to expand his empire. However, during a war against the state of Kalinga, 100,000 soldiers were slain, and even more civilians were killed. Due to his sorrow, he started to study Buddhism, and he decided to follow the Buddha's teaching of peace to all beings later on. He built a huge stone pillar inscribed with his new rules, and he also promised to his people that he would treat them fairly and humanely, promoted nonviolence, and they have religious tolerance. Asoka also built extensive roads so that he could visit a far corners of India. He also improved conditions along these roads to make travel easier and to improve communication in the vast empire. This shows that Asoka's concern for his subjects' well-being. After Asoka died in 232 BC, the officials failed to hold the empire together, and the empire started to crumble. So, there are two effects of Asoka's death. The first one is regional kings started to challenge the imperial government, and some kingdoms regained independence. For example, Andhra. They arose and dominated the central region for hundreds of years. It profited from extensive trade between North and South India, and also with those of Rome, Sri Lanka, and Southeast Asia. At the meantime, northern India, for 500 years, starting around 185 BC, had to absorb refugees from other parts of Asia due to the political instability. So they absorbed refugees, for example, from Greek, Persia, and Central Asia. This event disturbed Indian society. However, it also introduced new languages and customs to the already rich blend of Indian culture. In the southern India, they also experienced turmoil. There are three kingdoms, never dominated by Mauryan Empire, called the Tamil people, spoke Tamil, often at war with each other and with other states. After 500 years of turmoil, rose a strong leader, who was Chandragupta. Yay! You may also notice that the name of this ruler is similar to the Mauryan Empire, who was the Chandragupta Maurya. Although their names are similar, they are not related at all, which is kind of strange. Yeah, whatever. Chandragupta arose from Magadha, also established Gupta Empire. He oversaw the flowering of Indian civilization, especially Hindu culture. Chandragupta built an empire through marriage with an influential royal family. Chandragupta the first took the title of Great King of Kings in AD 320. So at this point, Chandragupta actually started a new method of expanding and developing his empire, which is through marriage. While before, the rulers only fought their way to obtain a greater empire. Samudragupta became king in 335 AD. He is a lover of arts, but with a warlike side. He expanded his empire through 40 years of conquest. And here's a map of it. We could see that the first emperor of Gupta Empire was the Chandragupta I. He conquered this area, the green area above Ganges River. And his son, Samudragupta, conquered the brown area over here through 40 years of conquest, which is a lot compared to his father. So his father actually sucks. Yeah. Um, and this purple area was added by Chandragupta II, who was the grandson of Chandragupta I. He defeated the Shakas and obtained this region, coastal region, at the west of India. Gupta era was the first era for which historians have much information about daily life in India. Most Indians lived in small villages, and most were farmers. However, there are also higher level people, such as the craftspeople and merchants. They lived in the same area in town and had shops on street level, which means they have shops on first floor, yeah, and they lived the rooms above. The society were mostly patriarchal. All, including women and children, worked together to raise crops, often had to irrigate their crops due to often droughts, and they also had tax on water. People had to work every month to maintain wells, irrigation ditches, reservoirs, and dams. In Mauryan times, farmers give much of their earning to the king, which I just mentioned before. So here we could notice that how water are important by their tax on water and um, the frequency that they um, make make their dams and reservoirs better. Yeah. Southern Indians follow different cultural patterns. Some Tamil groups were actually matriarchal, and sometimes even the throne were passed down through female lines. Villages followed in changing traditional patterns. Indians strongly respect Chandragupta II because he defeated Shekas, who were the enemies in the west, and conquered their coastal territory, which I just shown you in the map a few slides before is the purple territory. This allowed them to have profitable trade with Mediterranean. He also strengthened his kingdom by having diplomatic and marriage alliance. During the reign of the first three Guptas, who were Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, and Chandragupta II, India had achieved greatly in art, religion, and science. After Chandragupta II's death, Hunas, who were related to the Huns, who invaded Roman Empire later on, threatened northern India. During the next 100 years, the empire broke into small kingdoms which were overran by Hunas and other Central Asian nomads. Guptan Empire ended in about 535 AD. And that's all. Thank you for listening.